Hello, this is Heidi Abed with Actions and Strategies for the Environmental Management Plan. Focusing on the Red Sea Great Fringing Reef, the vision is a sustainably managed marine protected area to support the rich biodiversity of the northern Red Sea, serving as a resilient coral reef refuge against the effects of climate change. The actions and strategies of this plan is to form a single Marine Protected Area (MPA) for the entire Egyptian Red Sea coast. This will integrate current MPAs as their own zoned areas within a single zoned multiple-use MPA with no-take areas. The no-take areas are an additional level of protection where, for example, no fishing is allowed, but it may permit limited subsistence activities for indigenous Bedouin communities, as current examples have already shown successful examples of these stewards participating in such activities. A further level of protection will be having certain zones be no impact areas, where beyond no fishing is allowed, want to make sure other activities are not negatively impacting the coral reef health. For example, limiting visitor traffic to dive sites, establishing a carrying capacity, limit the number of dives per day. And beyond that, even having some zones be no access areas, just restricting all access to sites that have, for example, stressed or bleached coral until they recover, or any other critical needs. A management alternative is to have a uniform multiple-use MPA to supplement the existing MPAs. So this is creating an MPA for all sites not currently protected, and it will not reduce protection levels of current MPA areas. For this uniform MPA, we'll determine a uniform level of protection, permitted activities or restrictions within the protected area, so it's not discriminate. There will be seasonal rotation of site protection of no-take, no-impact, no-access areas for certain months of the year or certain seasons. In this way, no stakeholder can say, why can they fish there and I can't fish here? Why can they dive there? I can't dive here. Instead, everyone will take a rotational turn and letting the coral rest, essentially. Area to measure success includes having engaged stakeholders, progress toward management objectives, having monitoring and assessment constantly guiding adjustments to the plan, and having implementation fall within relevant legal framework. Engaged stakeholders include tourism industry, dive shops, hotels, tours, tourist volunteers, local communities, development, fishing, municipalities, having all of these entities engaged in conservation efforts, actually participating in cleanups and sustainable use methods. Conservation groups, we can utilize them more. These organizations, students, researchers, even engaging them in the monitoring and assessment of the process. Species identification, impact studies. Maritime industries, for example, Suez Canal Authority, Red Sea Port Authority, Egyptian Navy, finding incentives for them to engage them in the process. Management objectives will show progression as parameters of the MPA are determined, whether for zoned areas or for a uniform MPA, to see whether we finally determined the conservation focus, level, permanence, constancy, and scale of protection for each individual zone, or again, for the whole uniform MPA, as is the alternative. Monitoring and assessment will continuously need to guide the adjustment made to management decisions, as is characteristic of adaptive management planning. The implementation of the entire plan, of course, will need to fall within the relevant legal framework. Restriction and monitoring protocols within the plan need to comply with laws, regulations, and policies to avoid sanctions or litigation, and to maintain stakeholder support, trust, and engagement. Here are the references used for this presentation. Thank you.